The spiritual Baptist faith is a melting pot of religious and spiritual influences.
The history of spiritual baptism in Barbados is actually very much connected to the history of spiritual baptism in the Caribbean, where through the enslaved people coming to Barbados, several African cultures and heritages came into the country, but they weren't allowed to express themselves freely. And part of their decision to retain their identity as African people was to somehow merge or syncretize some of their activities with what was happening here. So a lot of what we experience now is as a result of that merging. So as a result of merging with aspects of the Kabbalah, which is mysticism, merging with aspects of Judaism, some of the implements that you will see comes out of the Hindu traditions in terms of the tarriers and those things, and also the merging of various African cultures. So as far as we understand, aspects of the Homi, aspects of the Congo, aspects of Yoruba appear in our practice. But it appears in our practice because of the being able to land in this space called Barbados and having to adjust to a very hostile colonial environment. In the post-emancipation period, people began to express themselves differently and better, but we were still influenced by outside influences. So the Calvinistic missionaries that came in from the UK and the very charismatic African-American pastors that came in began also to influence what we were seeing and experiencing in the Caribbean. And so by the beginning of the 20th century, we had this wonderful expression which we would call spiritual Baptists that happened across the Caribbean, especially in the Southern Caribbean. And because those people were part of the migration of people back and forth, they would come from various islands, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines, including Grenada, Trinidad, and Guyana, and St. Lucia as well. So we had a fluid connection with those islands that were practiced here, very much in the underground. It's a very layered, a very intense, very complex and complicated but intricate system that functions well to reinforce all those different aspects. You know, we're all the better for the merging of all those different aspects in a place that celebrates spirituality. This dress is not an excuse to be ostentatious in the real world, but it's actually an inward reflection or an inward connection to those dreams or visions that we would have had when we were walking in those realms when we were in mourning, or when we are in meditation. We find ourselves in these various worlds. So we celebrate our various cultures, our various backgrounds, whether it's from an African perspective or let's say from an Indian perspective or sometimes Chinese, different spaces in Africa. And sometimes even we embrace aspects of the European. So sometimes you will see people dressed very much like how you would see in European churches, and all that is reflected in the layering that we provide in our clothing. So each aspect of our clothing is a symbol of our connection and a symbol of our experience as spiritual people. Yeah, apart from the fact that I bought it, it was one of the symbols that I received on my morning tracks as a shepherd. So if I was to get the staff that I was supposed to get, it would be much taller, much huger. But this particular one for me is very significant because if you think about the story of Moses and the throwing down of his staff to deal with the staff of the others, it's kind of weathered. I should have really oiled it before. But the significance of the staff is that when Moses threw down his staff and the magicians threw down their staffs, his staff turned into a stick and his staff consumed all the others. So for me, this is very powerful in the symbolism of sometimes being the minority, but knowing that who you walk with or who you are, right, can overpower whatever is coming against you.
Each spiritual Baptist church in Barbados charts its own way.
What is very democratic about our faith is that each church is its own community, And therefore, the leader of that particular church, who is, we believe, are given spiritual authority to be in charge of that community, may decide that their church will be involved in a period of fasting for a particular purpose, or they might decide that there are particular days that they would observe. So the Thanksgivings that you would see will be all part of the annual will be part of the annual celebration that different churches will ascribe based on how they are organizing themselves. But they usually happen around points of celebration. So a person might celebrate an anniversary of receiving their gift, or anniversary of the year they were born. In certain cases, to honor the people who have passed away, you will have tables given in honor of the anniversary of somebody who has passed away of spiritual significance. So that any occasion can be an occasion for celebration. And so apparently we love celebration, and we love to lavish when we do celebrate. Even to days of worship. So some churches may prefer to worship on Saturdays. We have Sabbath keepers churches, and we have some churches that would worship on Sundays. Some would worship in the morning, which is close to what traditional European churches would do. Some are more practical and will wait till the day is done and then have their services in the afternoon. So it is that democratic. So you could start service from Friday night, and you could just keep going from church to church till Sunday night, if that's your desire. The beautiful thing about being a spiritual Baptist is that we do have a sense of our own acknowledgement of the divine, but we also give honor and respect to our ancestors. So on a Thanksgiving table, again, very layered, very many things happening. We do tend to have to honor and pay attention to and acknowledge both what we consider the celestial aspects, as well as those aspects that are connected to the earth, to forces of nature, as well as those aspects which are connected to our heritage, our family. So at any one Thanksgiving table, there could be one or two or three or four things happening. And again, that's what makes it so layered, so complex, so intense, and so exciting at the same time.
In October 2022, the Fairchild Street Terminal was officially renamed in honor of patriarch and founder of the Spiritual Baptist Faith in Barbados, Archbishop the late Granville Williams. It was in this bustling city area that he held many nighttime services.
That went to the Red House to got the ban lifted that was on Spiritual Baptist since 1917.
So there was a ban?
Yes, there was a ban.
Okay.
There was a ban from 1917 until 1951. The vision came to pass. He brought his family here and all of that. And he started the church in Oyster, first service. And the people gathered in Oyster. Now, Oyster was a different Oyster that we have now. Where there's a big evergreen tree with the police station right there. And all the sea that's taken up there, they got bear garden and all that was sea. Then there wasn't grannies and all nothing like that at those times. I didn't want to shops in the thing, and they had close Brethren Church where the gas station is. No, it's thing. So, but people came out and he said, I wasn't in the church at that time, that after a week of holding services, he had to find some place to house the members, not members as yet, but people that were following. And a good guy in Silver Sands said that he would give him his house and go to his aunt and live, which he did. So the first church building that we had then was across Silver Sands. That continued for a period of time until this was his father's land here. So he then started to construct a small building here. And members then came over from out the Silver Sands that occupied the building. Can't candles represent the angels of God. In the first book of Revelation, he said, John said, I turned and saw 7 burning candlesticks. And then he saw a man in the 7 burning candlesticks. They have more than one meaning, but that is basically what the candlestick would mean. God is all-seeing, omniscient, knows all. And by he knowing all, he sees all. We say in the church that he is the silent listener to every conversation. So he is the person with the all-seeing eye. Even the 7 candlesticks represent the eyes of God. Jesus is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And the scripture said about him that unto him, means this lion, this man that is like a lion, shall the people gather. They will come to him. And we were seeing it all the world. No Christian, you're looking at the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Lion because he's strong, he's fearless, and he will do what God says at all times. Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday is really a high point of the church because it is the point where we do not have a man that was just died and put in a tomb. That happens to everybody. But there was a special man that came out of the tomb alive. That is the zenith of Christianity. That he came out and he is alive forever.